The best piece of advice I have for someone trying to succeed in the film industry or any creative space is if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're doing it wrong.
One of the best to ever do it.
What is freedom? I think I stole this from Bob Dylan, but maybe I stole this from Woody Guthrie. Freedom for me is waking up in the morning and going to sleep at night, and in between doing exactly what I want to do. What's the secret to happiness? The secret to happiness is finding something you love and then doing that for the rest of your life.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Site Review Tuesday. I'm Robert with Zenfolio Customer Success, and I want to say thank you for joining me. Now, here in a minute, we're going to get to reviewing one of your websites, and I do want to point out that while this has been pre-recorded, I'm hanging out in the chat, interacting with you guys live and answering your questions. Now, if you're interested in having your website reviewed, there's a link in the description below this video where you can submit your site. And in addition to getting a site review, I also offer a one-on-one session to each photographer who has had a site review done to help them answer any questions or assist in making any changes that they may want to make. Now, don't forget, we also live stream every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, so I hope to see you there. Let's get into the site review.
Hello, Zenfolians. This is Katie bringing you yet another Zenfolio live site review for Site Review Tuesday. I just want to thank everyone for joining us and to remind you that this review has been pre-recorded, but we'll be hanging out with you guys in chat to discuss the review as we go along. So I hope that you'll enjoy today's edition. We'll be looking at Dusty Demerson's photography, and you can find his website at imagescolorado.com. So let's go ahead and get into it. So right now we're looking at Dusty's homepage, and as you can see, he's using the homepage slideshow feature with one of the classic layouts here on his homepage. I love that he's included a custom logo here in his header. Having those custom logos does help to separate you from the pack, and it makes your brand a little more easily recognizable to any potential clients. So definitely a credit to Dusty for utilizing this particular feature. So looking here at the home page, we've got some really lovely images included in his slideshow. I did manage to get through most of the slideshow here without at any point feeling like I had seen anything that was too much like any previous images. So while there are plenty of images being used here in the slideshow, I don't think that it's overwhelmingly necessary to call the gallery being used in this slideshow. One thing that I did notice, though, especially for images that didn't have this more overwhelmingly white presentation toward the edges, that this white border did become a little distracting while I was watching the slideshow, so that's something to consider when making edits to your theme. It might be a reasonable thing to consider removing that border from the slideshow for images that it doesn't necessarily add to. While I do understand separating the image from the background, because it's such a muted tone for the rest of this theme, I think that they would actually be a little bit more prominent without the border than with the border. But I would love to know what you guys think in chat about pros and cons of using the border there on the slideshow. I did notice too that there's some very helpful social media links here included underneath the slideshow, so that does help to have those icons there for any potential clients or visitors that might want to follow you on social media as well. So let's go on here to Dusty's About page. I definitely love what Dusty has done here with this kind of behind the scenes image of the photographer at work. I also enjoyed the information that Dusty made available here on his About page. It's got a little bit of a bio, his credentials, his history in the medium, and it also includes an artist statement and some helpful links here as well. So having that hyperlink text is super helpful. Also having information here on the About page as far as how to get in touch with him is very helpful. One thing that is worth considering just for the presentation of the page itself would be to remove these breadcrumbs and maybe even consider consolidating some of the site menu so that a home link can be included in the site menu. Of course, you can always go and click on the custom logo here in the header to get to the home page, but a visitor might not know that immediately. So if they were trying to go back and reference, say, some of the images that were on that slideshow, that could be a helpful feature to have rather than using these breadcrumbs, which are aesthetically at least a little distracting. So the next thing that happens is how the art happens, and this will lead us to Dusty's blog. But let's click this link and see what happens. Okay, so what happens? We are routed to another browser tab. I'm not sure if this was entirely intentional to have the multiple browser tab action. As some of you may know, you can customize your site menu links to either open in the same or in a separate window or separate browser tab. This is definitely a useful feature in case you are routing folks away from your main site to an external site. However, when you're going to still be on the same site with the same site menu, generally I think it's just a way of cramming a bunch of annoying extra tabs in a browser to have those links open in new browser tabs. So I would definitely consider having that how the art happens site menu item. Maybe have that just stay in the same browser window. But as you can see, Dusty does keep up well with his blog. I see regular updates here happening with some really lovely featured images in the posts. So I really love how Dusty is utilizing the Zenfolio blog feature here. I think it's a really effective way of using this feature and gives you a lot more information about kind of the back end of his process and how he's capturing these images. So I really enjoyed looking through Dusty's blog. Again, you can find his site at imagescolorado.com if you want to see a little bit more about what's going on there. I also love what is going on here on the right side in the blog sidebar. These are some really useful links here, and it is pretty reasonable to assume that this slightly different color and then upon hover underlined text are linked texts. So I don't see anything here that needs a whole lot of attention. Since it's kind of a muted palette, generally I would recommend, say, using a more noticeable color in the theme for linked text, but I think this is pretty effective and that it stands out well enough based on the way it's configured in the presentation. One thing that distracted me just a little is the fact that you do see the same custom logo, but because the theme has been edited, it's a little bit harder to read. That white color in the header, then with this paler gray or warm tone gray that's happening here in the header, does make this information harder to read. So it could be worth playing around with, say, a slightly darker gradation here in the header. Also, not entirely sure the purpose of this element here. So something to consider at least. I love giving positive feedback, but the whole purpose of these site reviews is to see how things might be improved. So as much as it hurts my heart to say, I don't know if this works for me, I've got to say it sometimes. Also, what do you guys think of in chat? Curious about your thoughts when it comes to opening site menu items in new windows, and whether you think it's better to have more obvious linked text, and what you think about this header here. So please let me know in chat as we go along. On we go to one of my favorite pages on Dusty's site, the Studio Inventory page, and we'll see a similar page later on in the site review. But as you can see, Dusty has utilized his skills as a photo editor and probably Photoshop whiz to create previews of products for his images. I think this is a really wonderful way of subconsciously indicating to visitors and potential clients how your images might translate to products that they can purchase and hang in their homes. Very effective selling strategy, I think, and some really lovely images and ways of presenting those images. I'm especially a fan of triptychs, so when I saw these triptychs, I was pretty excited in how those worked out, but really lovely photographs. And also some very useful linked text here. These call to action links make it super easy for any potential client or visitor to immediately go ahead and shoot you an email and to sign up for a client account, so that information is then in your Zenfolio account and you can reach out to your clients there. Makes it super easy to get to that login page. So, while we won't be able to make it through all of the galleries presented here under Signature Edition prints and stock photo downloads, I did want to pull up a couple of these just so you can see what Dusty is up to here with his gallery presentation. So again, we've got these breadcrumbs showing up. Since it's easy to get to these things from the site menu, it might be worth considering just getting rid of those breadcrumbs there. But very useful information being included in the captions, and again, hyperlinked text that makes it easy to get in touch. So here we're looking at signature edition prints. So Dusty's got some images to show us. He's using pagination here. I don't know that it's especially helpful with some of these galleries that don't have so many images to have to reveal multiple pages. It's not a deal breaker for me, but something about me does really like to see, say, larger thumbnails and a few more images on a single page. So just something to consider there. If we click on one of these images, you'll see that Dusty is utilizing the Quick Shop Products feature, which really works for me here. And as we go along, and as you'll see on the next couple of pages, Dusty has done a really wonderful job of organizing his price lists so that there are specific price lists applied for specific kinds of products. So here we've got the signature edition prints, and he's got a price list for those products. And then if we go here under stock photo downloads, let's just see. Wall color. Oh, fun. Turkey. Looks like there's been some really fun traveling going on here. Let's do winter images since we're coming up on winter. We know we've just barely gotten into fall, but it's already pretty cold, so thinking about winter myself. Ooh, a hot air balloon. Okay, so here you can see where the pagination might be really helpful when there's lots and lots of images in a gallery. So here I definitely think that this is being used well. And there's something to be said for setting defaults and just letting the system take care of things for you. So again, things like breadcrumbs, pagination are not deal breakers for me. So much of this site is really clean and well laid out. So just something to consider. Let's go ahead and have a look at this hot air balloon so we can see. We've got a much different price list here. So we've got some stock photos going on. So we've got some cool licensure and really clearly laid out information here on the use of these images for stock photos for potential clients. So very effective presentation and great use of the Quick Shop feature to really narrow down products that are relevant and that folks might be able to use as stock photos. So one thing that I did notice here, going to the stock photo downloads and then assignments portfolio, which is the gallery that we're looking at here, looks like we've got some missing price lists. So as you can see, when we click on these thumbnails, this is going to a gallery photos page, which means that there's not a price list assigned. So it might be worth going through these galleries just to make sure that pricing is assigned consistently and where necessary. So we'll go on here to my favorite page on Dusty's entire site, and nothing to say about how much I loved the About page, because I did, but this Ideas page is really awesome, and you can see here that Dusty has created custom graphics to present ideas to his clients for how his images might be used to enhance their spaces. So for me, this is a really effective selling strategy. You could see how the print would look on a wall. You can see a preview of how it might look based on the sizing, different kinds of walls, and how those images might translate when hung. So I really enjoyed looking through this Ideas page. I think this is a really effective strategy here. And you can see where some of those images have been used by clients. Got some stuff hanging in the airport. This is amazing. Really love these images. Really love seeing how they can enliven a space. So, love this page. And also really love what's going on here with the captions. There's lots of great information, call to action links, and contact info. So I think that Dusty's done a really nice job with his site overall. Going on to the contact site menu item, we've just got a standard Zenfolio contact page here, but it gets the job done. Contact form, social media links, gets the job done. And then finally, going here to the tours page, we see another throwback to the theme that's being used for the blog. And I do kind of like the consistency between those two things. Feels a little bit like an adventure, and like you're already going into the Colorado wilderness with this color palette. But some really amazing information here. I swear, Dusty, if I ever find myself in Colorado, I'm going to hit you up, because this looks like a lot of fun. These look like really wonderful spaces, and I bet you know exactly where to go. The images certainly seem to indicate that that is the case. So, what do you guys think of in chat? How do you like to present information about services that you might offer in addition to the images and prints that you might sell through your site? I definitely like the use of custom pages and think that this is really well laid out. So, going back here to the home page, I just want to again thank Dusty for submitting his site for our review. It is so kind and generous for you guys to put your work out there, for us to take a look, and I think that it really does enhance the Zenfolio community that we get to do these reviews. So thank you guys all for joining us, and I hope you've enjoyed this review, and we'll catch you next Tuesday.
Hey, thank you guys so much for watching that site review. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you click that subscribe button and hit the little bell icon so you get notified when we post videos and when we go live. Now, if you're interested in having your site reviewed, there's a link in the description below this video where you can submit your website for that. And in addition to getting a site review, you're also going to get a link where you can schedule a session with me. We're going to go over your website, go over the review. I'll answer any questions that you have and help you make any changes that you're interested in making. So the link to sign up for that is in the description below this video. Now, don't forget, Zenfolio Live coming up this Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you guys there. Until then, I hope you have a great week.